Do you want to hear my experience of being a mature graphic design student, where I'll share some helpful design tips which can help towards your graphic design studies? Well, keep it locked. Hey everyone, it's Philly here and welcome back to another episode. I've just recently finished my final year of my graphic design degree as a mature student. So in this episode, I'm going to be sharing my experiences of being a mature student, as well as sharing some design tips which can help towards your graphic design studies. I know I've been concentrating on a lot of design tutorials over the last few weeks, but I thought I'd change it up for this episode. But don't worry, I'll have some more design tutorials coming up. Right, so I've broken it down into 5 sections. I've tried to condense it as much as possible, but I think it would be good for me to share my experiences and the things that I've learned over the last few years studying graphic design. So the first thing is, I have dyslexia, borderline dyspraxia, and I didn't find this out until a little bit later on into my degree, which is quite frustrating. So basically, my creative side of the work, my marks were between 65 and 75%, which is around about an A and a B. But my theory side was quite bad. I was getting around about 40%. But because, it was left quite long, and then I had to go through the whole process to get help, I wasn't able to get any help until my 3rd year. But the good thing is my grades did shoot up really well within the theory side of it. So just make sure to sort out some help before you start your degree, and it will just benefit you in the long run, because my overall mark will be affected, which is kind of annoying. So this is one thing I kind of wanted to get out there so people know, what to do before they start their degree. If you missed my first episode, I spoke about my journey of becoming a graphic designer. So if you are slightly older and you are looking to get into education again, I really recommend to check that video out. So the second thing is, make sure to read the briefs properly for each project, because as a creator, we all go through it. I mean, I did, and you kind of get fixated on the creative side of it, and you start to forget about the other things that you're going to be marked on. So you don't actually get marked on just the work you create, you get marked on other things like timekeeping and planning, etc. So just make sure to read through it properly, get a tutor or a lecturer to go over it with you, because it will benefit you. The third thing is, when industry professionals come into university to do a talk, don't be afraid to approach them and introduce yourself. For me, it wasn't a big issue because, I've built up skills over the years. Approaching people and talking to people isn't a big issue for me, but I know it can be very daunting to others. So for example, an agency from London came in and done a talk with us, and they showed a load of their work that they'd done. And one of the pieces that they'd done I was very familiar with. They'd done some design work on a movie, and this was like a conversation starter. So I was able to introduce myself and then speak about that project they'd done. And this is what kept the conversation flowing. And then this led into me connecting with them on LinkedIn, and they like and comment on my work, and I even had the odd conversation with them. So I now have, a relationship with an agency in London now. So from putting myself out there and speaking to all these different industry professionals, this led on to more things. I was able to get help on my portfolio, my CV, get it up to high standards of what's kind of expected within the design industry. And then this led into, a couple of interviews. I had a summer design job as well. So just don't be afraid to speak to people, because this can really lead into other opportunities for yourself. So the fourth thing is, when you're doing a project, make sure to share it with people. Post it onto social media and get feedback, and even get feedback from your tutors. I know it can be quite scary sometimes, you don't want to hear negative feedback, but honestly, This can make your project 10 times better if you do this. Another thing is make sure to read over the comments you get for each project, because the tutors will write down what you could improve on and what they would like to see more of, and that will help boost up your grades on your next project as well. Documenting your work as well. This is most probably required anyway, but when you're creating concepts, make sure to create as many as possible and not just one idea. Explain the avenues that you took and why you created those ideas, because this will really help as well. Different projects have different audiences, so once you know your audience of who you're creating for, ask questions online, because this can really help you find out what people want to see in that area, and that will also boost up, your grades as well. Books. I never read a book in my life until I went to university. But honestly, 70% of my research was from books, and I actually now buy books for inspiration and stuff like that, because I find internet sources, especially for inspiration, it seems to be all the same. So I just recommend when you're doing a project, I would use more books than internet resources. I hope this episode was helpful for you. I know it's not for everyone, but I know there are people out there who this could help. And like I said, I will do some more design tutorials in the next coming weeks. So if you like this episode, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, and make sure to hit the notification bell to keep up with all my weekly content. Take it easy, and I'll catch you same time next week.